I have done so many takes trying to get this right, so fuck it, I'm just gonna go with it. I have been really concerned about my fellow addicts in recovery and also some of my clients and people that I know rely on attending recovery support groups to keep themselves sane and sober and in recovery. My name's Cynthia Morton. If you've never heard of me before, I'm a recovering drug addict alcoholic, and I've been clean and sober now for, if I hit October the 12th, 1995 this year, it'll be 25 years, but just a day at a time. I started doing support groups back in 2000 when my first book came out. And over the years, I have created a body of work through 6 books that I've written as a companion, helping people that are recovering. Well, it started with trauma and addiction, and these days I work with people that are recovering their self-respect after a marriage breakup, after a redundancy, after a financial crash, after recognizing that they had to do some work on their sexual conduct, their eating disorders. I work with people that are elite athletes that realize that they're absolutely loving their body on the outside, but on the inside, behind closed doors, they are emotionally bankrupt and unable to articulate. And that's about keeping an open heart in a relationship. We hear a lot about mindfulness, keeping an open mind. My work's very much around helping people keep an open heart and building emotional muscle. I've been really concerned that because of the coronavirus situation, those of us, myself included, that rely on group work, and that is sitting with other people that share the desire to de-ego, to actually be able to have a look at their own heart and be in a no bullshit zone where they can talk about whatever's going on for them. Issues with drugs, alcohol, as I said, food, sex, gambling, spending, all of the above. Now that those groups have been closed, and I recently have had to close my emotional fitness recovery groups that I've been running in conjunction with Communify Queensland out of Love Street in Brisbane, and also the Body Love groups. They are not a workout, they're a work in for people that don't have a very robust relationship with their emotional body, with their internal world. So they might look like a goddess or a god on the outside, but behind closed doors, there's no intimacy. There might be a lot of sex, but there's no intimacy, there's no hand holding, there's no heart connection. So building emotional fitness, we've all heard that saying, you teach what you need to learn. I'm 58 years of age, and the older I get, the more I realise I have got so much to learn, and there's so much I don't know. So yes, you do teach what you need to learn, and I learned so much from group work and working with others. I had just started a Body Love series and was continuing on. We were up to March in our year-long program of recovery groups. So what I've decided to do, I am still seeing clients privately. We're obviously doing video sessions, and some clients are still coming to my home to have one-on-one sessions. So I'm someone who's always worked from home. But what I'd like to offer is some companionship and some recovery support. I never profess to be an expert. I am somebody that needs, on a daily basis, to live one day at a time in recovery. The most natural thing for me to do today is to pick up a drink or a drug, and if I'm not picking up a drink or a drug, any other weapon of mass distraction. And I think home is where the heart is, but home is often where disconnection is most prevalent. There are many people that aren't comfortable with being emotionally open in the home, so they stay busy, and whilst they've got a busy work structure, they come home on weekends and they drop the kids off, they do the food shopping, they do the cooking, they do the grocery shopping, and they flitter in and out of connection with either their kids and their lover. But with coronavirus, we are going to be spending a lot more time at home, and if you're not emotionally connected at home, you're going to find that it's going to be uncomfortable. And I've just noticed in myself, I've got to really watch my sugar intake, my caffeine intake, my internet shopping habits, because weapons of mass distraction are often what we do for pleasure when we're not emotionally fit at connecting and looking for happiness, playing a board game or a card game with our partner, choosing something on Netflix that you both want to watch, going for a walk, having a snooze, having a cuddle, laying on the floor, listening to music, having a dance around the lounge room. These are all things that we could all start to do a little bit more of. But if you're not at home in your own heart, if you're disconnected from yourself, your capacity to run away from your partner is going to be limited because of the coronavirus. We can't go to the restaurants. We can't socially fill the voids with other people. We need to stay at home and connect. So what I'm going to do as I get the time is download some of the Body Love series classes and also some of the discussion group contents that went along with those classes for anyone that would like to do a little bit of a work in now that you're indoors and you're at home and bolster your emotional fitness. When I first started this work back in 1995, I started writing because I wasn't confident to say what I needed to say, but I could put it on a page, and then nobody was more surprised than me when my books became top 10 bestsellers. And then from that, back in the day, there was no social media, so I was doing television shows and blessed to sit alongside women like Ida Buttrose and Lisa Wilkinson on shows like Beauty and the Beast and chat to people like, Australian icons like Bert Newton about trauma and addiction. But that's where my area started, because I had domestic violence, sexual abuse, and a lot of disconnection in my family of origin. And then as soon as I discovered alcohol in my teenage years and then drugs in later years, I just became very proficient at weapons of mass distraction. So my books were very much around detoxing on paper and then sharing that. And then through those books, as I said, became media, and my work has grown exponentially since then. So where we'll go in the videos ahead that I would like to do and share with you is we'll explore your internal body, and we're going to check in at the 7 basic areas that people get stuck. And over the years, and again, I don't profess to be an expert, I have just been a researcher and a student of the universe for a long, long time. And I have collected a lot of information that I just would like to open my heart's library and share with you to see if any of it might be useful. You might listen to me and think, half an hour she babbled on, but there were 3 things there that made sense. The rest sounded a bit cray-cray for me, but some of that made sense. I'm going to try and use some of that. And it's like, I always say, I am to the mental health world what Nigella is to the current culinary world. If you want to learn how to julienne a carrot perfectly and make a perfect jus or stock, you're best to watch Heston Blumenthal or Gordon Ramsay, because they are chefs, they are trained. I am not a clinical person, I am not a therapist, but over the last 2 decades, therapists have been referring people to me that don't so much suffer from mental health issues, but more emotional fitness issues. And this is being able to sit with emotion. So like a personal trainer helps you plank at a gym and build core strength, there are so many people that just need some support in holding a big feeling, a big challenging feeling, sometimes an uncomfortable, even ugly feeling. Many of us want to distract and not be present to it, and that takes emotional muscle. Now, we all know in the intimate relationships with people we love, when they're having the shitty stuff go on, they're having big feelings, they're angry, they're jealous, they're upset, they've been shagging and lustful, they've been spending too much, they're not speaking up, or they're getting aggressive when they do, they're disconnected. Whatever it is, when it's a loved one, we hold the space and we say, I'm here for you. And what does that mean? We are going to look at them, we are going to connect and go, I'm here. And you hold their heart with your pupils, and sometimes you hold both of their hands and you let them know your heart is open, not just your mind, open heart, open mind. Mindfulness is wonderful. It's wonderful to do work around our cognition and our neuropathways and monitoring thoughts. But emotional fitness is very much about opening your heart's library, and that's not always about speaking. It's about sight, smell, taste, touch, sound. Now, if you don't have the keys to your heart's library and you're unable to sit with your own big feelings, you're only living a half-life. And you may well find you're there for everybody else, but nobody's there for you. Why aren't they there for you? Because you won't let them in. You won't even let yourself in. So over the years, it's really interesting. We've been trying to emotionally educate each other since the beginning of time, and before we had psychiatry and before we had psychology, what tribal cultures did to educate younger generations was, what did they do? They sang songs, they told stories, and they danced and they played. And what they were doing was articulating. Now, we know our most favourite musician, and you're listening to Bono and Coldplay, you're listening to people from all over the world start to sing to you. And it's almost like an organic, involuntary reaction to sing to somebody, if you've got a good voice, if you're a singer, to sing to somebody you love when they're upset. And many parents, myself included, when my boys were baby, are singing Twinkle Star and Round the Garden, and we sing. It doesn't matter what our voice sounds like. The melody of our heart being playful and open to a child, it's a lullaby. It puts them to sleep. Now, I'm a writer, and so I often write. And what do we do when we're reading to stories to children that we love? You know, we make sure that there's a moral message. There's a story that helps them find themselves, whether it's in the hero or the villain or the victim, overcome. And that's why Netflix and binging and reality television is so widely sought after, is because we want to be told stories, we want to be sung to, and we want play. Now, if the coronavirus can do nothing else, often before construction is always preceded by destruction. The old model has got to be broken down for something new to grow. And we do have an opportunity to articulate in our homes, to listen to more music, like we did as teenagers, to lay on the floor with our loved ones, our children, our lover, or if we're on our own, to lay on the floor, articulate and open up. Because when we listen to the person that is singing that song, we've chosen that song on our playlist. Why? Because they're singing to our heart. We feel connected, that they get that exact emotion. And when we rise and sing, whether it's to Whitney or bloody Bono or Pink Floyd or Aretha Franklin, whoever it is, we go there. We fly up above logic. Ever noticed when you're watching a really great movie, a really great series, you know that that's Clint Eastwood, you know that that's Meryl Streep, you know it's fictitious. I just came to me, you know, Meryl Streep and Clint Eastwood in Bridges of Madison County. I mean, my God, you know, what happens is your logic turns off and you articulate. And in a really powerful movie, what happens at the end of it? You are transported, and if the storyteller's done a great job, you are educated. I remember the first time I saw Philadelphia. Now, I'm a heterosexual white woman, and I did not understand the plight of AIDS. Now, we're talking over a decade ago, so Tom Hanks and Antonio Banderas, if you haven't seen it, you know, and you're isolating, it's a beautiful movie, but for me, it transported me, it educated me, it opened my mind, it opened my heart. And after that movie was finished, I had a whole new understanding of the work Lady Di was doing around AIDS, and I just didn't understand the plight. So great storytelling helps us unlock emotionally, because we get locked up, you know, we get closed-minded, we get close-hearted. So the question is, and this is my work in emotional fitness, how do you unlock? Well, you go within, you work inwards. Now, the masculine and the feminine, if our feminine is our inward world, our queendom is our emotional world, our emotional body. Our kingdom is our external world, how we stand up, speak up, carry ourselves in the world. Regardless of gender, it doesn't matter whether I'm working with same-sex couples, transgender clients, men or women of any age, it doesn't matter. We want to have a good partnership with our own masculine energy and our feminine energy, our yin and our yang, our logic and our emotion. We want to be the whole package. We don't want to shut one down to open up the other. You listen to people like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, they always talk about their intellect being sharper when the intuition is working with it, when left and right brain are working together. So how do we clear the emotional blockages? This is what we're going to be doing in videos ahead, but I'm just going to give you a bit of an overview. So let's go back to some of the ancient language, the 7 deadly sins. Now, it doesn't matter whether you're religious or not, and I'm not here to get into religion, it's a very private journey, but the spirit or the soul, you talk to 10 different people, they'll explain spirit and soul in 10 different ways, but in the model of work that I do with emotional fitness, our soul, our spirit self, is that part of us that is uniquely us. It's like your heart print, your fingerprint. None of us have a fingerprint that's replicated anywhere on the planet. Your heart print is your soul print. It's your true north. Now, when head, heart, and body are all working together, we have a knowing. Sometimes we say we feel half-hearted or we feel torn. We think this, but we feel this. Now, what we've got to do to be emotionally fit is have intellect, our logical brain and our emotional brain working together. And then if we have that connection, we can follow through. Head, heart, and body work as a team. Many people come and work with me because they're blocked. They've been told their whole life, to leave their emotions at the door or check their ego at the door, and they wonder why people become half-hearted. They've only got half the person, not the whole package. Many people don't know how to do an internal workout. Meditation, which is the feminine, which is how we look after our queendom, our emotional body, that requires just as much attention as a workout, looking after our physical body, our financial body, our sexual body, our nutritional body. And many people don't know how to go within. Now, we know meditation is the practice of going within, but for many people, they struggle. Some people struggle with how to meditate, and they have this belief that they're not doing it right, or they've got to do it right. They've got to become a robot or a duplicate of how other people do it. And I often say, meditation has got to be something that dovetails with your lifestyle, and it actually lights you up on the inside. A bit like physical fitness. To keep physically fit, I'm a runner. I like to run. Now, if there was the only way I could keep physically fit was to swim, or to play tennis, or to rock climb, I wouldn't do it, because it doesn't dovetail with my truth, with who I am and how I am. I like to run. I'm an introvert. I don't want to run with a running club. I don't want to talk to anybody else. I want to be on my own. It's how my body likes to keep physically fit. Now, with emotional fitness, meditation simply means to receive love, beauty, and hope, to connect with your queendom in a meditative space. Now, some people, they practice transcendental meditation. Some people practice open eye meditation. There are so many types of meditation. There are no right or wrong. But in this coronavirus time when we are at home, for you to actually practice some work-ins on meditation is what I'm going to help you do. Because there are many ways to the waterfall. And if you find a way to meditate, it doesn't have to be 20 minutes, half an hour. Over the last 25 years, my meditation has built up. But I also have little hack meditations that I can do. A bit like, and getting back to the food metaphor I was using before, you can go and learn to become a trained chef, or you can learn how to cook better by watching people like Nigella. She does a lot of hacks, and Jamie Oliver does a few of them too. She can get fancy with some frozen peas or some pasta sauce and put a beautiful meal on the table, which she has prepared with love. Now, with meditation, you don't have to go through years and years of training with masters. You can, and that's wonderful if you've got the time and a connection with somebody that gets you on a meditative level. But there are some ways that you can meditate in 5 or 10 minutes at home, and literally, if you think of your heart, your queendom, like a device, like your mobile phone that needs to be plugged in and needs to dock. So many people are good at charging up their external body. They go for a run, they eat well, they make sure they have the caffeine they need or whatever. They know how to charge up the physical body. They read, they study, they get degrees. So they start the day. And if your physical body is like your iPad, it's on 100% battery. But if your emotional body, your queendom, is only on 10% battery, you're going to emotionally drop out of range. So that's going to either make you insensitive or panicked and anxious because you don't even know how you feel. You haven't got a connection. The great news is you can build one. You can build a relationship with your internal world so that you plug in. And the areas we're going to look at are the 7 deadly sins. Why? Because since the beginning of time, they are the areas that people get stuck. As I said, take the religion out of it. These are emotional areas where we get blocked, which means we can clear them if you've got the right tool for the job. So we always get blocked when we're focused on fear, and we clear it with love. Now we call that, Marianne Williamson calls that a return to love. That's the miracle. Isn't it a miracle? You ever notice that when you're really upset or fearful or frightened and then someone apologizes or comforts, or you get to have a cry and you can lean into somebody and they articulate well, and then you can see the rainbow after the storm. That is the beautiful part about the human condition. We can always change and overcome. But if you haven't got any faith in yourself to overcome the dark nights of the soul, and there's that beautiful Buddhist saying, we are all alone together, some stuff you've got to work through on your own. You've got to go within. Nobody can come and save you. You've got to be able to take a light, like a candle, and, go in with a Sherpa, which is a loving belief system, and have a look around at where the blockages are. So, where do we get blocked? We get blocked in pride. We get blocked with greed. We get blocked with sloth. We get blocked with envy. We get blocked with gluttony. We get blocked with lust, and we get blocked with anger. Now, there's not a person on the planet that hasn't had a bad day when one of those energy centers have gotten blocked. Why have the 7 deadly sins been around since the beginning of time? Because they're the areas. Now, the beautiful Sanskrit modality, the 7 chakras. Again, areas that we can get blocked. The 7 stages of grief. We all know that people can get blocked in their grieving. They just stay stuck. So, they're the 7 areas we're going to start off with, our emotional fitness stuff from home. And when I get time, I'll be back here again. I'll try and do these as regularly as I can. The first one we're going to do is working on connection and pride. And I will, at the end of each of them, we'll talk through and give you some ideas. And at the end of it, I will give you some little handmade tips, a bit like Nigella, with the frozen peas and the pasta sauce out of the cupboard. I'm not starting that again. Forgive me for if the lighting's not perfect and I've started. I just want to talk from the heart here. So what we're going to do is start doing a bit of spring cleaning. We're going to go through your pride center, your ego center, which we've all got, by the way. We all get stuck there. The problem isn't getting stuck. The problem is not having the tools to get unstuck, to not be able to overcome, to clear, to clean up our side of the street. And that's what emotional fitness is all about, being able to articulate, so we can have an open heart and an open mind and be the very best versions of ourselves. So I'll be back as soon as I can come back. For those of you that are just connecting with me for the first time, I have a YouTube channel, Cynthia Morton, and there's over about 300 videos on that YouTube channel where I've chatted with people from all walks of life on their experiences in recovery, and also interviews I've done over the years. So that's a library you're free to access at any time. I also write, and I have been doing so every day pretty much for the last 7 or 8 years, a daily word vitamin. And again, it's just my gift of a word. It might be shame, it might be lust, it might be, I think today's was emotional monogamy, where you can just subscribe. If you're not on social media, you can just subscribe to my website, cynthiamorton.com. Hit subscribe, it's free. And what'll happen is at midday every day, you'll get dropped into your in-basket a daily word vitamin. And again, it's just a nourishing, well, it's an opportunity for you to have a look at these big words where you might be blocked in fear. I give you a little story about, my struggles, and then I offer some solutions. And it's just an opportunity for you to keep an open heart and an open mind, because it'll just show up in your inbox. You can follow me on Facebook, Cynthia Morton, and also on Instagram, hashtag Emotional Fitness Recovery. I've also got podcasts on iTunes and Spotify. You just have to type in Emotional Fitness Recovery and there's a library of podcasts there. So, we are all alone together. I am here as a companion, as a recovering drug addict, alcoholic, who needs you more than you know. I need to practice what I preach, and what I do know is that there's a lot I don't know, but I've done a lot of research, and I would like to share with you some dead-end streets, some things that have helped, some music, some stories, some books, some videos, some movies, and we can stay connected this way. So if you've listened to this whole 20-odd minutes, thank you. And I'll put my glasses on because I can't see how to turn it off. I look forward to connecting with you again, and the first one we're going to do is pride and connection, and I'll help you do a little bit of a spring clean. We'll talk through, we'll use some intellectual information for you to go, well, that's a load of shit, I can use that. I'm going to read that book she suggested, and then we'll do some emotional working in, and I'll guide you through that. Okay, so I'll see you soon, and yeah, let's please keep in touch. Mwah! Lots of love. Bye.